Welcome back. Now news from other parts of the world. At least 12 firefighters have suffered injuries since fire broke out on Monday, while 15 police officers have been affected by smoke inhalation. France official says the wildfires in southeastern France have forced the evacuation of at least 10,000 people overnight Tuesday. The wildfires have already ravaged about 4,000 hectares of land around the Mediterranean coast, the hilly interior, and on the island of Corsica. One of the fires burning in La Croix-Valmont near the seaside resort town of Saint-Tropez had been contained Tuesday. But 400 hectares of coastal forest was burnt already, as however 200 was forced to evacuations. Authorities have deployed more than 4,000 firefighters and soldiers to combat the situation. The lower chamber of the U.S. Congress and the House of Representatives voted in favor of tougher sanctions on Russia with an overwhelming bipartisan vote of 419 for the 3 against. The measures targeting Russia for its alleged interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential elections in the bill are combined with sanctions against North Korea and Iran. The bill still has to be passed by the Senate, which is unlikely to become an obstacle as an earlier version of the sanctions against Russia passed the upper chamber of Congress with a 98-2 votes. The White House has not yet clearly signaled whether Trump will sign or veto the bill. The administration previously spoke against a provision that requires the president to seek congressional approval for any attempt to lift the sanctions on Russia. Introduced amid increased uncertainty over degree of involvement of Trump's election campaign with the Kremlin's alleged meddling. The new sanctions against Russia would significantly step up the sectorial limitations on the energy sector, which would include a ban on maintaining, repairing, or expanding pipelines in Russia, which will likely cause resistance from the EU, with Brussels alarmed that a number of large-scale projects involving Shell, Eni, and British Petroleum could be jeopardized. This would include the Nord Stream 2 pipeline planned by Russia gas major Gazprom together with Engie, OMV, Shell, Unipal, and Wintershall. British Petroleum operations with Russian Rosneft, in which it owns 19.5% stake, CPC pipeline, in which BG overseas holdings, Shell and Eni are involved, as well as the Caspian region and the development of a gas field off the coast of Egypt. And on sport news, Liverpool has embarked on the next part of their preseason campaign as they head to Germany to take part in the Audi Cup in Munich. However, Liverpool is still focused on Brazilian playmaker Philippe Coutinho, who latest reports suggest is the subject of a new £18 million offer from Barcelona. The Catalan side has already seen a £72 million bid rejected by the Premier League side, but after reports of more negotiations between the two clubs in London earlier this week, an improved offer might be given. Coutinho, meanwhile, will travel with the rest of the squad, with his future still very uncertain. Attorney of Venus Williams' victim's family, Michael Stingel, says Venus accelerated from 0 to almost 20 meters per hour in about 4 seconds as she pulled through the intersection where she had a fatal accident. Michael, who represents the estate of Jerome Basson, who died at the accident, says his team obtained the black box data on Tuesday from Venus' SUV. He said that the box data showed that she was traveling at 19.9 meters per hour when Jerome and his wife T-Bone are, and that the numbers show Venus got up to that speed in 4.2 seconds. His take on the data stated that Venus probably looked up and saw the red light and gone it. A surveillance video shows Venus start into the intersection but stopped to allow another vehicle to turn left in front of her. She says the only information they knew about was Venus' statement to the cops that she was doing about 5 meters per hour as she started into the intersection. The police reports also put the Barcelona's Aounde at 25 meters per hour. And that's it on our news bulletin. But before we go, recap all the major stories that made our headlines. Access to justice has called on the National Judicial Council to reduce the amount of vacation time judges cumulatively enjoy in Nigeria. Central Bank of Nigeria says 817.48 billion naira, Nigeria's gross oil receipt, is lower than the provisional quarterly budget. Lower chamber of the U.S. Congress and the House of Representatives voted in favor of tougher sanctions on Russia. In sport news, attorney of Venus Williams victims' family, Michael Stinger, says Venus accelerated from 0 to almost 20 meters per hour in about 4 seconds. Thanks for watching. You can follow us on any of our social media platforms. I'm Okemte Fekuji about. Thanks for your time.